Welcome, my name is Matt, aka Road88. We're getting the Star Wars cast of heroes, mods, Sith Assassin. So, not exactly certain where the Sith Assassin comes from, but it almost looks like a former Inquisitor. However, it is teamed up with Sith and Sith Empire. I'm trying to think in terms of any post-Return of the Jedi books where something like this would show up. I mean, there was Mara Jade, who ends up being converted by Luke and marrying Luke. She was a Sith. Disney acts like, with that rule of two, as if Palpatine was ever, gonna be strict on that matter or whatever. But to be fair, there were other Sith in the original Star Wars, in the original George Lucas era of Star Wars. There were other Sith that would be brought up in the books. Sith Assassin, this feels like something probably out of one of the video games. And it's probably one I haven't played yet, is kind of what I'm guessing. Sith Assassin, like I said, is teamed up with Sith and Sith Empire. It is an attacker character. So if you go to my character and mods playlist of videos, the very first one in that playlist, for those where mods might kind of go over their heads, I do break down definitively, by definition, the various different types of character roles, as well as the various different types of mods, and by definition of what it is their purpose is going to be when we apply them to certain characters. Basically, we're either doubling or tripling their character role abilities, or we just enhancing them like that, or we're kind of cross-training them. SWGOH.GG recommended doing speed and health. The in-game tips is recommending speed and critical chance. Now, these are, in-game tips. The SWGOH.GG is based on fan statistical preference. But it doesn't mean that, those are necessarily right answers. But one way you can tell, or kind of get an idea as to what might work for you, is if you take a look at the character abilities. Here we have deals for physical damage, stealth. So yeah, speed is helpful there, so is critical damage. Once again, stealth, tenacity, speed. So there's kind of a variety of stuff, honestly, that is being suggested here. Almost anything. Damage. So, okay, speed and health isn't necessarily bad, but this is also an attacker character, not a support character. So honestly, shoot, tenacity was one aspect that was suggested in his abilities, and I'm kind of leaning in that direction personally. So I'm kind of thinking of switching out tenacity, but it definitely doesn't hurt to have secondary or tertiary loadouts for your mods or for your characters, just in case, because when you go from, different opponents, depending on your battle scenarios, from opponents to opponents, things can change. It doesn't necessarily mean that these mods are going to necessarily work. Speed and health, there wasn't a whole lot in terms of what he offered for health, but his abilities does offer about speed, it did offer about tenacity, it did offer about damage, so those critical damage mods. He did offer abilities for chance. So critical damage and critical chance is a possibility, and it is very common for attacker characters, actually, from what I've seen. Speed and tenacity, it kind of gives them a tank-like, basically be able to attack like a tank-like character. Characters are basically protecting whatever it is within inside the squad. So with that tenacity, it gives him the ability to really stand his ground, to be durable, and when he's getting extra possible bonus turns, I mean, tank characters are also known for doing this, but also so are certain attacker characters like Darth Vader. He gets bonus turns as well. This is not unheard of for attacker characters. If you don't want to go with tenacity, you could probably consider potency with the speed. Potency is basically a thing of dominancy. When he attacks, speed is already laced into an attacker character's DNA, but when they attack with that speed, you throw in potency, he's gonna move even quicker, and he's gonna dominate. He's gonna punch like a tank-like character, basically. He will be. So there's kind of mod suggestions of cross-training him as an attacker tank-like character, whether he's standing his ground, able to attack, or able to punch hard like a tank-like character with his attacker abilities. So those are some things to maybe take into consideration. Critical damage, critical chance would just only be enhancing, doubling, tripling his natural abilities as an attacker, but the speed and tenacity or speed and potency would push him a little bit more into cross-trained as an attacker tank-like character, tank role character, with his attacker abilities. So just a couple things maybe take into consideration with this guy. So that is Sith Assassins mods for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Subscribe to the channel, like the videos, comments, questions, suggestions down below, and thank you for following. May the Force be with you.